First, let's go over the duration of these notes again. We looked at this last lesson in relation to 4/4 time, but let's recap over these notes in general. The first note is a semi-breve and is equivalent to 4 crotchets, so in 4/4 time it will last the whole bar, but in 3/4 time the note will be held to the next bar as it is longer than 3 crotchets. The next note is the minim and will last for 2 crotchets, so in 4/4 time it will last for 2 crotchets, which would be half of the bar. But in 3/4 time it will last for 2 crotchets, which would be 2/3 of the bar, not half of the bar as in 4/4 time. The next note is the crotchet. The time signature would indicate how many of these make up the bar. The next note is a quaver, then a semiquaver, then a demi-semiquaver, then a hemi-demi-semiquaver, and there are smaller notes. However, music is not just made up of notes, it also contains periods of times where there is no music. These periods of silence are indicated by rest notes. For each note there's an equivalent rest note. Here are the rest notes. Note that the semi-breve rest usually hangs from the 4th line, whereas the minim rest usually sits on the 3rd line, but these symbols can hang or sit on any line, which makes it easier to read. The semi-breve rest is used to indicate a rest for the whole bar in any time signature. Here's an example of a few rests in the first bar of another version of Charlie Parker's Au Prévert. The first thing that you notice is that the music is in the key of C and it has a 4/4 time signature. The first symbol is a minim rest, which lasts for 2 crotchet beats, so no music is played for beat 1 and 2. The next symbol is a quaver rest, so no music is played for the first half of beat 3. The music starts on the second half of beat 3 with 2 semiquaver notes followed by 2 quaver notes. Now let's look at extending a note so that it sounds longer. In this bar there is a minim and 2 crotchets with the beats shown. If we want to extend the note of the minim so that it lasts the duration of the minim and the first crotchet, we would have to use a dotted note because there are no notes discussed so far that will last that long. A dotted note would extend the length of the note by half the duration of that note. So in this case it lengthens the minim by a crotchet, since half of a minim is a crotchet or quarter note. A double dotted note will extend the note by half the duration of that note and by half of the additional extension just made. So a double dotted minim will be equivalent to the duration of a minim, a crotchet and a quaver all together. The same principle of lengthening a note by adding a dot or 2 dots also applies to rest notes. Now let's look at tied notes. Music is written in bars or measures, which are separated by bar or measure lines. A bar line cannot be written through a note, so if a note is held over a bar line, that note would have to be split into 2 or more notes and tied together with a curved line called a tie. This means that all of the duration of the notes that make up a bar are clearly shown, and a note that starts in one bar and is held over to the next bar is shown with a tie symbol. A note can also be tied within a bar. It is a matter of what makes the music easier to read. Here are a few examples. Lastly, let's look at the concept of the triplet and other note groupings. A triplet is a group of 3 notes or their equivalent played in the time duration normally taken by 2 of the same notes. The first example has a crotchet triplet. We know that 2 crotchets equal a minim. So these 3 crotchet notes are played in the same time taken to play a minim. It is for this reason why the bar ends with a minim rest, which will complete the bar in 4/4 time. The second example is a quaver triplet. We know that 2 quavers equal a crotchet. So these 3 quavers are played in the same time taken to play a crotchet. The bar then ends with a crotchet rest and a minim rest. The third example is a semiquaver triplet. We know that 2 semiquavers equal a quaver. So these 3 semiquaver notes are played in the same time taken to play a quaver. There is a quaver rest to complete the first beat and a crotchet and minim rest to complete the bar. Triplets do not have to have 3 notes. 1 or 2 notes may be left out, 2 notes may be tied together, or the equivalent notes written. Here are some examples. You can also group notes in other arrangements such as in 5, 6, 7, 8s, 9s, etc. 5, 6, 7 notes are played in a time duration of 4 of the same notes. 9, 10, 11, 13, 15 notes are played in a time duration of 8 of the same notes. Remember that a bar must contain the notes and rests that equal the duration of the bar as indicated by the time signature. If you're not sure how to play a group of notes, you can work it out by the duration of the other notes. Add them together and see what time duration is left according to the time signature. Hello, I'm Ken Gowdy and thank you for watching this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll put everything that we've learned so far into looking at how to count notes. If you're not a subscriber yet, then think about subscribing and I shall see you in the next tutorial. See you later.